Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good, everybody? That's right. We're checking in here Sunday, June 23rd, 2024. The Boxing Source Podcast is here live. We are here on YouTube and also on X here for right now. Biggest for everyone that's listening live. We got, a number of things here that we're going to be talking about. It's pretty much like an open season for open topics here in this particular episode. I know that we got a lot of action in boxing coming up next weekend. We got like a few fight cards that are coming up on Friday night and then on Saturday night. I will be in attendance on Friday night in DC, in the DC area. You know what I'm talking about, as we have Lamont Roach defending his title against Figure McCrory. And if you haven't done so already, you could go back on to our channel to catch the interviews there with Lamont Roach Jr. We also have an interview there speaking with Derek Scooter Davis. I'll be part of the card. And then we also have the sharpshooter Greg Outlaw Jr. We also have that here on the YouTube channel. You know what I'm saying? Big ups for everyone here. We got right here on live, Lonnie Lee, hashtag Just Boxing Talk. What's good with you? Jesus Sam in the building, of course. Jesus Sam, supporting Joe here and there, War Week Boxing. He says, hey, this is today's era of boxing. Only drama, no actual fighting, man. No actual fighting. I mean, hey, sometimes, thing about it is sometimes the stories outside of the ring end up being bigger, or people talk about it more than what's happening inside the ring. That's how it goes here sometimes, man. But, at least for this week, we had like a little bit of slowdown in action. As far as like what's happening inside the ring. I know that we had a world title fight that was on Friday night in Las Vegas there, as they had Rafael Espinoza getting a stoppage win there against Chirino. Pretty much like executed everything that he needed to do in that one. Just talking about that real quick. He executed everything he needed to do there in that particular bout. But he's there at like 6-1 in the featherweight division. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy as well. But I mean, this is the same guy that, ended up having the win over Robeisy Ramirez in a fight of the year candidate, upset of the year candidate, that type of thing, particularly with the Boxing Source. So that was his first defense of that WBO featherweight title. And, he's looking to see about either having a rematch there with Robeisy Ramirez, who's about to have a fight coming up here next weekend, or pretty much Saturday over in the Miami area. Or also with potential fight against Bruce Carrington there, of course, who, has been rising up the ranks there at 126 pounds. So definitely looking forward to seeing who he ends up fighting next, whether it's a rematch against Robeisy Ramirez or, Bruce Carrington gets a world title shot there with the WBO. But, yeah, outside of that, you didn't really have that much action from that. You had some that had some comments about, the undercard fights that, did take place. I was looking at, with Troy Isley in a step-up bout of sorts there, when he was able to get a win against Javier Martinez. He was able to outbox Martinez there for the majority of those rounds there. But you also did have some low blows, a number of low blows over the course of those 10 rounds too. So, good unanimous decision win there for Troy Isley. Hopefully, I'll be able to get him on and with an interview here within the next week or so, next couple of weeks here, because he's good interview himself too. So you had that, and then also story about the co-feature about that Andres Cortez versus Abraham Nova. There, where Abraham Nova ended up losing by unanimous decision, where a number of people thought that Nova won that bout against Andres Cortez. Thought he outboxed Cortez for the majority of that fight, but ended up that Andres Cortez got the win. So I don't know, man. Maybe some people think that they're trying to get Abraham Nova out the paint or something like that, as far as like being a contender there at the 130-pound division. But that's, a whole nother story with that. But, that's the thing on that. Real quick there, Jesus has a question. Is Isley ready for Janibek? I'm not all too sure about that as of yet. He's there, going up the ranks here in the middleweight division. He's had a couple of impressive victories here. I think that the last fight that he had against Marcos Hernandez, where he scored a TKO victory. That was probably the most impressive performance that I've seen him have thus far in his professional career. And here with this that following bout against Javier Martinez, he was able to have a pretty good showing, but it was a really, really grimy type of a bout there where he was able to grind out a win, unanimous decision win against Javier Martinez there. But I'm not seeing him being among those ranks out there in the the middleweight division, where he's ready to be a world title contender as of yet. I mean, he has what did they say? He's a NABO middleweight champion right now. You know what I'm saying? So with him being an NABO middleweight champion, that kind of like would put him out there in the ranks within let's say the top 10 maybe in the WBO at middleweight. You're probably going to see him around the top 10 in the WBO here in these next rankings that will come out for the WBO. But it'll be some time before he's going to be put in there in the ranks of being a world title contender. So I think that there's going to be a couple more fights there for Troy Isley before he gets that opportunity to be a world champion, so to speak. So I see him getting a couple more fights here, particularly with Top Rank, to build himself up, and then sometime I would say next year, then they'll say, okay, we'll see if he's actually ready to fight for a world title. But as of right now, I'm not seeing them going to get that opportunity to fight for a world title as of yet, at least not with the unified champion there in Janibek Alimhanullah. So there's that. But that's pretty much what I had in reference to that card that happened on Friday night. Because, just being real, I don't think there were that many fans that were looking forward to that fight card. They're all looking to what's happening this weekend. There's a lot of action, like I said, this weekend. So you got, of course, Bam versus Estrada on Saturday, too. So definitely looking forward to that fight. That's going to be a fight within two guys that have been, at or around the top 10 in the pound for pound rankings. You know what I'm saying? So definitely looking forward to, that fight card. Hopefully I'll be able to, break that down here later in the show. But if not, maybe in the midweek report on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I have to check out the schedule, confirm the schedule to see if I will be at, either a press conference, if they have a press conference for that Lamont Roach, Figure McCrory fight card. Of course, that's Friday night in DC. So you do have that, right? All right, cool. Bet. Now, just wanted to get into, what's been happening in the news or whatever it is. But I don't know if y'all been checking social media right now or been on it, but on X, you know what I'm talking about? Hey, looks like what you would call it, trying to state his case or whatever it is, or talk his talk, because we already got Ryan Garcia. That's pretty much stealing the thunder. He's already started the space, man. He started the space up on X. But we know what happened here, a few days ago with the New York State Athletic Commission, as they pretty much put down the decision to suspend Ryan Garcia for 1 year. But following through with those reports, right? It was basically an agreement of sorts between the parties of Ryan Garcia and the New York State Athletic Commission, that they'll pretty much like end up having it to where, okay, he'll end up serving a 1 year suspension. You know what I mean? He'll end up serving a 1 year suspension here for the New York State Athletic Commission. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is that, okay, yeah, that might be somewhat of a good, I guess, a good solution or a good ruling, so to speak. But some people say, hey, you know what? He should have been suspended for 2 years, maybe longer than that, given, what had happened over the course of the, time from like a few weeks before the fight until the fight actually happened between Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, right? So it's like, hey man, if you pretty much like approach this particular fight like, number one, you didn't really care about, one, making weight, two, using IVs, and then three, getting tested positive for the ostarine, regardless of what the levels are, then it's like, okay, you pretty much had the thought that, okay, you know what, I'm going to do this regardless, and because of me and my status, that maybe I'll be able to get away with it. That's almost how it's almost how it looks there with Ryan Garcia, right? And even with the when the news had initially broke, what was it, like, shoot, over a month ago, right? It was like during the week, I couldn't forget it, man. It was like during the week of Canelo versus Munguia. That's when the news broke. And then I was out there in Vegas. You had the whole thing with the fight week out there. Even the weigh-in that happened out there on Friday by T-Mobile Arena. And you had Ryan Garcia out there. And that was like one of the biggest, stories that was out, was that Ryan Garcia had been, dropped with that, positive test there. And he was just trying to explain himself, try to weasel his way out of it, so to speak, in references, some people, and talking about other stuff. He wasn't actually talking about the positive test. He was talking about some other topics, when he was, speaking with the media. And so it was almost like he had that idea of, what, either I'm going to fight this some other way, or I'm going to just see if they'll be able to, excuse me through this, because, some people are talking about, it was such a small level of ostarine that was, found in the system that, hey, maybe it was a contaminated sample. And that was, one thing that they were trying to bring up and try to say that, hey, this was a contaminated sample. But when you see that this ruling came down that, hey, 1 year suspension, and that it almost looked like it was a settlement or an agreement that it would be a 1 year suspension, then it's like, well, yeah, that don't look like you accidentally, had ostarine in your system, my guy. Don't look like it was accidental if you're quote unquote agreeing to a 1 year suspension, but it could have been, worse. Could have been worse, And now, as a result, you have Devin Haney like going through the motions. It looks like here, going through the motions of filing the lawsuit there, against Ryan Garcia, because it was him having those test results. Him ended up cheating. Ryan ended up going into the fight overweight, pretty much like intentionally going overweight, right? And then what happened there in the bout actually happened, and it ended up being a decision loss at that time for Devin Haney. So Devin Haney is like, oh man, that ended up being the first loss, took down my overall value. Now I can't move forward and be one of those high profile guys in the sport of boxing, because I wasn't able to get the win over Ryan Garcia, and Ryan Garcia ended up cheating. So he pretty much is suing for potential earnings that Devin Haney would have got if he was able to get a number one, a clear win over Ryan Garcia, but number two, having something where it was not a circumstance where Ryan Garcia cheated. And I think that something like helped Devin Haney's case a bit, when also earlier this week we had this whole thing with the results of a purse bid for a Devin Haney fight with, oh man, but I kind of like seeing this happen anyway. Devin Haney, Sandor Martin, come on, y'all. Devin Haney and Sandor Martin, I mean, just to be upfront with y'all, you know what I'm saying? How many of y'all are interested in a Devin Haney fight against Sandor Martin? Now, hey, we seen Sandor Martin, what was it, a couple of years ago against Teofimo Lopez at Madison Square Garden during Heisman weekend of 2022. How many people actually went attended that particular fight? Just being real, how many people attended that fight? That tells you how much people are interested in having anybody fighting Sandor Martin. Teofimo Lopez really didn't have that many people out there, watching him fighting Sandor Martin. How many people are going to be out there to watch Devin Haney fighting Sandor Martin? Yeah, Temp Rank did win the bid for the fight with Devin Haney and Sandor Martin, and it was about 2.42 million or something like that, right? Where initially Devin Haney would get a base purse of about over $1.5 million to fight Sandor Martin, and then of course 10% of that purse is held by the WBC. But will that fight actually go forward? I'm like, come on, like, will it actually go forward? I'm not all too certain about that. I know that there's been a couple of folks that have been on this show or on this podcast here in the past couple of weeks where we've had this conversation about Devin Haney versus Sandor Martin and if that fight would actually go forward. And myself, I still have my doubts. I still have my doubts, right? And I'm pretty much saying, like, you know what? I think Devin Haney is going to look at this and say, Devin Haney fighting Sandor Martin, I don't know if that's, a viable option. But I'm still, I'm still saying that, hey, you know what? Whether it's a year or whatever it is, you might not see Devin Haney in the ring until next April in a rematch against Ryan Garcia. That's the most lucrative fight out there right now for Devin Haney at this particular point, unless if there's a way that they say, you know what? If you go ahead and you face Sandor Martin, and we get a date set here for you, and I'm going by top rank, right? I'm going like if I'm top rank. Let's say we'll go ahead and we'll have this fight for you against Sandor Martin, but later on down the line, you could go ahead and you could face Teofimo Lopez in a unification. That's about the other option that I see there for Devin Haney at this point, because the 140-pound division, of course, had a shakeup there, last week. You know what I'm saying? You had, of course, Subriel Matias losing to Liam Farrell, right? And you also had the whole thing with Alberto Puello winning the WBC interim title with the decision over Gary Antoine Russell. And like I said, I felt like Gary Antoine Russell won that 114, 113. You know what I'm saying? But that's a whole nother story. But that just tells you like where the 140-pound division is at this particular point. Like, are you going to say that, hey, if you're not going to face Sandor Martin, right? How much of a better option would it be for Devin Haney to face Alberto Puello? Like, come on. Like, Sandor Martin, Alberto Puello, are either one of those fights, like, really, like, do they seem intriguing on paper for boxing fans or fight fans right now? I'm not all too certain about that. So you might as well just say, hey, if you're going to fight Sandor Martin, then you're doing that to see if you're going to be able to get a future fight with Teofimo Lopez in a unification, WBC and WBO. Yeah, Teofimo Lopez does have his fight against Steve Claggett on Saturday. Teofimo Lopez should be able to get through that. But hey, like I said, 140-pound division this year is definitely had a shakeup. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? But for now, Devin Haney in the direction that he should go, as long as he wants to stay there at 140 pounds, you might as well go ahead and see about that particular option there for Sandor Martin. If you could get Teofimo Lopez in the unification, I don't know, probably early 2025 or something like that, because you're not gonna have, you're not gonna have like this fight here with Sandor Martin at about what, like say September or October, get that fight out of the way, and then say, hey, you know what? I'll go ahead and I'll face Teofimo Lopez in 2025 in a unification. But outside of that, I don't really see that many other options out there for Devin Haney, with the exception of a rematch with Ryan Garcia. So that's the thing about it. Now, as far as like the fight itself with Ryan Garcia, yeah, you've had a number of people, that's had the opinion of, okay, yeah, Ryan Garcia did what he did, came in the fight overweight, had the Chirino in the system, but shoot, Devin Haney still ended up getting beat up, still ended up getting knocked down multiple times over the course of the fight, and still had some defensive deficiencies, that really looked like they were an issue there for Devin Haney, and that it might pose a problem of sorts there in the future. You know what I'm saying? Let me see, man. Shout out to Terrell V, newcomer in the building here on the Boxing Source. Big up to you, man. Devin Haney's father running the show with most of the stuff that Devin's doing. Bill tells him to make videos and what to say. You know what I'm saying? And it said Bill is the one that said it's time to sue. Hey, listen, man. I don't necessarily. What I was saying. I follow Bill Haney on Instagram, but I don't follow Bill Haney. You know what I mean? So all those videos and whatever he's been talking about and all that type of stuff, I ain't really, been on that type of time. You know what I'm saying? But I do kind of like agree as far as like, Bill Haney be running the show as far as like managing what Devin Haney's doing, how he moving, all that type of stuff. And it's not necessarily Devin Haney himself, so to speak, that it's really Bill that's kind of like orchestrating what's going on and what's going down. So I think that's going to, affect Devin Haney here in the future there, man. It says it's messing with its value though. It's making the mountain hard to climb again. Yeah. I mean, but the thing about it is though, Devin Haney has that fight result changed to a no contest. So that loss is not on his record. That loss isn't on his record. But as I mentioned earlier, you had the whole thing with the purse bid for Devin Haney and with, Sandor Martin. So even with the circumstances, going on with Ryan Garcia, so people within the boxing world already knew about the potential of that particular fight being overturned, and that it would not be a result that would be in the negative for Devin Haney. So even with that, you still say that only one organization bid for the fight with Devin Haney and Sandor Martin, and that was Top Rank. Matchroom didn't do it. TGB didn't do it. Eddie Hearn said even Devin Haney Promotions didn't even do it. They didn't even, bid on themselves, even though Devin Haney did post like, something like he should have did it, right? So it's like that should tell you where Devin Haney is at right now in his professional career and his overall value. We know what he's kind of like earned in the past, particularly with Matchroom Boxing. I kind of said it. Like he's earned multi-millions with Matchroom Boxing in his previous fights before the fight with Ryan Garcia. And, Eddie Hearn said, hey, look, man, we're not going to do that anymore. And the zone is not going to, put up the money for that. So there it is. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Picasso in the building. He said Ryan Garcia got Devin Haney's number. All he has to do is throw with them. Ryan got more thumps on his punches. Yeah, that's the thing about it too, man. it was like talked about earlier. Shout out to Angry Man Sports Media that was on earlier, had a podcast earlier, and in part of that they talked about the whole thing with the matchups, particularly with Devin Haney, and a majority of his fights that he had up to the time that he faced Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney either had like a size advantage, reach advantage, that type of thing. So he didn't necessarily fight a guy that was around his height or the same height or anything like that, or had the same type of speed like that. And with Ryan Garcia, it wasn't just that he was the same height, he had faster hands, and he would be able to take the shots there from Devin Haney. So, while Devin Haney, had like a good jab, was consistent with it in a majority, or not a majority, but like part of that first half of the fight, you kind of seen that he was, controlling the pace with his jab. But as long as Ryan Garcia knew that, hey, you know what, I'm the faster fighter, and I know that I'm the one with the more power too, I can hurt him at any time, and that's what you had. You seen it in the first round. He was pretty much going around the jab with his left hook, and you seen that again there in the seventh round, and then the times when Devin Haney was undisciplined by not having his right hand on the phone and keeping his right hand up. So, like, those tactical deficiencies from Devin Haney was really, really telling there again in the fight against Ryan Garcia. And that was something because, I mean, going into the fight, Devin Haney was a pretty good favorite there over Ryan Garcia, and still ended up losing the fight. You know what I'm saying? It says, Terrell says, your character can affect your value as much as your boxing ability. It very much can. It's especially here in the boxing business. You're, as one boxer had told me, you're basically a sole proprietorship. So how you represent yourself is very key to how you're able to control your value when you're going into potential fights and what happens when you're going into the ring. Yeah, Dev's still young and can recuperate, but all this extra stuff hurts his market value. Yeah, But I mean, this kind of reminds me of another situation that happened some time ago, a few years ago. A little bit. 2020. What was it? February of 2020, before the whole lockdown and all that type of stuff. February 2020, we had a certain fight in the heavyweight division between two top three guys in Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. And in that particular fight, of course, Tyson Fury ended up getting a stoppage victory as, the trainer there at the time for Deontay Wilder ended up stopping the fight. And outside the ring, the whole controversy at that particular time was that Tyson Fury may have did something with his gloves and all that type of stuff, and it was a whole little controversy behind that. And some people were saying that maybe that particular fight should have been a valid win for Tyson Fury, but we didn't necessarily have anything to prove that, so it still ended up being a win for him. But at that particular time, you had Deontay Wilder saying, "You know what, I can." And I'll pursue getting at or whatever it is. And guess what he ended up doing? He ended up having a lawsuit against Tyson Fury. But that was because Tyson Fury was trying to get off of a rematch with Deontay Wilder at the time, because they had an agreement for those two fights. You know what I'm saying? But still, it was like a lot of people kind of like challenged that particular fight because they didn't really feel like Tyson Fury won that fair and square, so to speak. But now fast forward to this right here. Well, we know that Ryan Garcia didn't necessarily win, all fair and square, but people, whether it's, folks that follow the sport, or in this particular case here with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, there's a number of folks that were like saying, yeah, we don't really necessarily watch boxing like that, but we know about Ryan Garcia. And what Ryan Garcia did in the ring against Devin Haney, we know about that. So regardless of what was taken or anything like that, we saw what we saw in the ring. And so they're saying, like, you know what, Ryan Garcia ended up beating up Devin Haney, inside the ring, So it didn't matter what skills that Devin Haney had, still didn't work there against Ryan Garcia, you know. And hey, the boxing community is, just being honest, a really, really small community in comparison to what's going on outside the boxing community. You know what I'm saying? So with Ryan Garcia, is it to the point where people aren't gonna necessarily care about what's going or what happened? I don't know. I mean, like I said, right now, you even got like Ryan Garcia, talking. We pretty much like had a space or whatever it is, man. So, and what's this thing, man? He talking about, man. And Ryan Garcia had posted up like earlier. What is it about? Less than a half hour ago. He said, "quote unquote," the hood knows that I won, or something like that, man. Yeah, it's crazy, but like I said, the whole situation there with Ryan Garcia having a 1 year suspension, right? Like I don't know, because you have Devin Haney that's suing, and he wants to sue for, what is it, about at least $1.5 million, the base purse or whatever it is, or I don't know, maybe wants to get more than what was getting paid for him to Ryan Garcia to be in overweight. Ryan Garcia had to pay what, $1.5 million for the 3 pounds overweight too, so he didn't really care about that. So it's a bad situation. What did he say, Terrell? Shout out, man. He said, Dev is overrated when even the brothers are against his skills. I was even favoring Devin before Ryan's fight, but after that whipping in his past opponents and having a weight, reach, and height, it's starting to feel like the Haneys are a gimmick. And he said, ooh, Haney's good, but not as good as he wants to be valued at. Ooh, that's interesting, man. That's interesting. Let me see here, man. I'm gonna like go here real quick as we continue this conversation. Big ups for everyone listening live here on YouTube and X. If you can, hit the like button here on YouTube to support the Boxing Source here. We're almost at, what is it, about 2,200 subscribers here on YouTube here. So if you can, hit the like button, also hit the share button. We appreciate the support. But yeah, let me see here if we could. Yeah, I'm gonna try to share this string here, man. But before we do all that, I want to get in one of our great guests here on the show. Of course, been a long time guest here on the Boxing Source podcast. Of course, from the ATL area, the Boxing Academic is in the building. What's happening with you?
Hey, what's going on, JR? How you doing tonight, man?
Man, all good, man. Trying to stay cool, man. This heat advisory, trying to have people melt out here, man. But we all good on this side, man. What's happening with you?
Not much. I was listening maybe to like the last 2-3 minutes of what you said when I jumped in. I got some thoughts, but they probably won't be popular.
All right, here we go. The Boxing Academic has its thoughts, man. What's going on?
When it comes to things like this, it really depends on who you are. I told another great guest that, these things remind me of high school, where it's the most popular person, and then they can do whatever they want to do. Or I was regular in high school. Let me say this, by the way. But if you are liked, you get away with a lot more stuff. You get allowance to do a lot more things. And compare that to not being liked. Like in high school, compare that to you being the person that's lame or not being liked. Everything you do, even when you are wronged, will always be scrutinized. It will always be mocked. It will always be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
If you take away these two people and insert Canelo Alvarez and anybody else, if they and Canelo, let's say he ain't on the doping end, but anybody else that so it's one thing to go into a fight and you 3 pounds over. you could probably even say that's strategic, right? You can be like, oh man, he was strategic in that. So to me, that's a line that you can tread, and it borderlines on being strategic and winning the art of war. When you get into the realms of enhancement and performance enhancing drugs, and you start to get in the realms of whether you cheated or not cheated, if they say that this ain't supposed to be in your system in no natural way, like you can't eat meat and find this, the only way you can get this is if you do this, and then other people say this is consistent with microdosing, and then somebody probably messed up however it went. But if you consistent with cheating, it kind of baffles me that if you the wrong person or the unlike person, people are gonna be like, well, it ain't that or it ain't this. It's one thing he 3 pounds over. Okay, we can give him that one. Good strategy. Good strategy. They didn't stop the fight, so good strategy. But then I don't know if he cheated, but what I do know is that they said he cheated. I do know that they said he cheated. I do know that they said there's no way that this can be a system without him cheating, which means in the court, I ain't gonna say in the court of public opinion, but in the court of the official opinion, he cheated. So what are we talking about? That whatever the last guy said, I ain't trying to comment nobody, but I'm simply just saying, if this was somebody that you like, would you actually be saying that? Like for Dev and his father to be like, we want to sue him. Hell yeah. Like, are they not allowed to try to sue somebody? If you let me ask you this. Okay. You're in the sport of boxing where your hands are weapons. Yep. If you hit anybody in real life, what happens?
Oh, they have a danger of being seriously hurt or killed.
They have a danger of being seriously hurt or killed, which means you're going to have a felony as a boxer because you hit them with weapons. Your hands are considered weapons. Now, you're doping. A boxer is doping, so they enhance these weapons. They aren't using a weapon like a soft weapon. They ain't using a soft weapon. They enhancing the weapon to be completely more dangerous. Like, what you mean the man crazy or whatever for suing because, whatever, like, he's within his right to try to sue somebody who cheated the same way. This is different, but it's similar to when Cotto and Antonio Margarito beat the shit out of Cotto, had him bloody, had his face looking crazy. Mm-hmm. But then all of that changed when, what's my black guy name? He got his son, Shane Mosley, and them found out what he was doing. Then they went back and realized, oh, by the way, he had them things in the Cotto fight. And the story was rewritten because the man cheated. He was within his right to sue him. They vacated the wins. He was within his right to sue him because instead of you having a revolver, you now have a assault weapon. It is. I ain't trying to get into mass shootings. Excuse me for this example, but this is one example I can think of. It's a difference when a crazy person got a revolver and they shooting people. Compare that to them with an assault rifle where they can shoot off 50 in 3 seconds. Mm-hmm. And you telling me somebody got steroids, which is essentially the assault rifle for boxing. It's a metaphor. And somebody is not within their right to sue them. Of course he's within his right. Whether or not he win, that's another thing. He got to prove that. And maybe he may not have another case. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, people, if he's the wrong person because, like in high school, he just unliked, and that's why he ain't getting the favor. It's some bullshit, in my opinion. Again, I was regular in high school, but I don't like unfairness, because if it was the right fighter, you would be like off with his head to the person who cheated. You being whoever would be like most people. But again, this is high school. So what Ryan did right was that he won in the court of public opinion, which means that most regular people don't give a shit about him cheating. They just know that he beat what's his name. And even with him beating him, what was the score of the fight? What was the score of the fight?
It was actually a majority decision.
Oh, it was a majority?
Yep, majority decision.
Cause that last knockdown.
Basically,
Yeah.
But no, the thing was, Ryan got two of the three scorecards. The other judge had it like even.
Even, okay. But what I remember, he with the last knockdown, he you know, like he deserved to fight. But all I'm simply saying is we see how people change when they got stuff in their system versus when they don't. We see how different Manny Pacquiao was when he did or did not have it. I don't know. We see how different Canelo was when he did or did not have it. We see how different all these people is when they have something or don't have something. They said Jared Anderson. We see how different people is. Like, are you kidding me? Of course, you get a competitive advantage. Of course, your shots when they land, they're so much different and hidden. We can't overlook that. Yes, Devin Haney does have deficiencies, and he had somebody fast enough who was able to take advantage of them. But if he didn't have whatever in his system, would it have affected him? We don't know. But what I do know is that they said he cheated, which means that the win get taken away. It means that we can illegitimize anything that he has done simply because he cheated.
Yep, and that's pretty much what it is. Is that if you know that he took the substance and that it ended up positive before the fight took place, then that actual fight is not officially on the record. You know what I'm saying?
But in the court of public opinion, you're gonna have all the regular people like, oh, you got your ass whooped.
Yep.
But the nigga cheated. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's the thing. You know what? I've heard that too. It's like, and I mentioned it. You know, the people that, don't necessarily follow boxing like that, don't know about, what's happened in the past with, guys that's been caught cheating and ended up having the results reversed or anything like that. They're gonna say, you know what? All we saw was Ryan Garcia knock down Devin Haney multiple times over the course of the fight. You know what I'm saying? So, so that's the thing about it. But it's like GM says here, hey, the judge go watch the fight, and say, hey, did Orsery make you forget about the left hook?
Hey, let me say this. When Deontay Wilder got hit, he turned around and forgot where he was in the ring. When it was another guy that happened too. Charles Anderson. Charles Martin
against Luis Ortiz.
Yeah, like what you mean? Of course, him getting hit with the left hook. The Ostarine can make him forget where he was and probably, make him respond differently because he's getting hit with something that's like plaster in the gloves or something. We saw how broken Cotto was in that fight. Like that was a different man versus the next fight when the guy didn't have plaster in his damn gloves. Like, yes, it can make you turn around and forget where the fuck you at and lower your goddamn hand. Nah, he deficient. You're right. He's deficient. But yeah, man.
Man, I thought I had a comment on here reference to the thing with Ostarine and what it does, but that's it said, it says enhances your endurance, but it doesn't give you skills to keep eating left hooks like that. So I mean, that's the thing.
So enhancing your endurance, which means that round whatever, would he be still throwing the same ferocious left hook? Or typically in most fights, I ain't talking about everybody. I ain't talking about Tank. I ain't talking about whatever. In most fights, the steam of people wear off, and the shots that you taking early that's hurting you. In most fights, people are able to take those shots because the steam has wore off. Like he just said, endurance. Ostarine, you still throwing 95 miles per hour, and it's like the ninth inning. Ain't nobody switched out for you. You still throwing 95 miles per hour. Yeah, you probably on steroids if you're doing that.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing about it is like folks either know what the effects are, of like an Ostarine or whatever steroid that a person's using, or they don't see that it has that much of an effect, man. And that's the thing about it is that Whether it really had like some type of effect for Ryan Garcia or not, who knows? But as you were mentioning earlier, and like GM was saying here, man, Devin got that as be Osprey or not, and that's the thing that I was talking about. Immediately after the fight, and initially when those reports of the positive results of Osprey came out, I'm like, yo, that whole thing didn't matter when Devin Haney just couldn't keep his right hand up to defend himself against the left hook. Thing about it was like leading into the fight, Devin Haney was saying, "Oh, Ryan Garcia, all he got was a left hook." Okay, so if all he got was a left hook, why weren't you doing what you needed to do in order to defend against the left hook? I'm like, come on, you know what I'm saying?
He exposed him, but he exposed him with an asterisk. So I don't know. I don't know what to believe. Like, yes, he's deficient, but there's an asterisk. So what do I believe?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing that got like a number of fight fans stuck when it comes to Devin Haney, because okay, you have this whole result like reversed or whatever it is, but is it to the point where he's exposed or something like that? Before you got on here, I was going to put up the thing here for Devin Haney's record, so I'm gonna see if I could share that along here, man. And you got these guys that he had been facing, like the Vasyl Lomachenko's, who I feel like is a quote unquote small lightweight there in the 135-pound division. You got George Kambosos Jr., and you know how the jury's out with George Kambosos Jr. for people. He fighting like a Jojo Diaz, who had campaigned at 126 pounds, some years back. You had Jorge Linares, Yorkis Gamboa, another guy that's campaigned around 130 or whatnot. Alfredo Santiago, like a number of these guys, a number of fight fans might not have heard of. I mean, I was there at the two fights in 2019. That Antonio Moran fight was a fight where that was a replacement, because I think they were supposed to have Alexander Usyk as the main event there for that one, but he got injured, so they inserted Devin Haney there against Antonio Moran, and that was the last time that Devin Haney got like a knockout victory, and that's there at 135 pounds. So here he is. That was his second fight at around 140 against Ryan Garcia, and he was he ended up getting a decision loss before it ended up being a no contest. And that fight against Regis Prograis, yeah, he was looking all pretty much like all world, but some say the jury might be out with Regis Prograis. And Regis Prograis has an upcoming fight against Jack Catterall that was just announced on what was that, like Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, one of them joints. But Regis Prograis had like a subpar performance against Danielito Zorilla before he fought Devin Haney. So we don't know what the status is of Devin Haney is here at 140 pounds, man. He said GM says Devin weighed 160 in the ring versus Santiago as well, man. Hey, shout out to L Dub Boxing in the building. L Dub Boxing on YouTube. He's in the building here, man. My guy OverJ on Twitter, and Just Do Boxing on YouTube. Y'all be sure to check out Just Do Boxing. Of course, he has his lives on YouTube. Pretty much has like 1 or 2 lives every day, putting in the work here on YouTube, man. Peace to you, man. Yeah, you said like Haney and Dev had a superior reach advantage against Regis Prograis. Yeah, man, Regis does have some, what they say, quote unquote T-Rex arms, so it's like, it was crazy. But when you go up against a guy that has those like either similar, height, reach, and all that type of stuff, like Ryan Garcia, then it's like, okay, what you gonna do? But now here at this particular point with Devin Haney, who is he going to be able to face out there? You know what I'm saying, that will have those type of dimensions, and where it could be something where he would have like a not like a clear advantage. You know what I mean? So that's the thing that I'm waiting on, because like he's there at what 5'8" with a reach of 71. Like for example, if he faced newly crowned champion Liam Perro has the same, has the same height and reach of Devin Haney. Like how would Devin Haney be able to deal with someone like that? You know what I mean? It's not like Devin Haney would fight a guy like a Isaac Cruz who's there like 5'4". So I would like to see like a Devin Haney against a Liam Power or against like a Jose Ramirez, former world champion, former unified world champion. Or like I said, a potential fight with Teofimo Lopez there if Lopez has to win over Steve Claggett. So we got to see what happens with that. Alberto Puello is a difficult style too. I did mention Alberto Puello as a potential fight there for Devin Haney. It's just from a financial standpoint, will it be that attractive? You know what I'm saying? I'm not all too sure, but at least for right now, they're saying or they're seeing, what will be the direction here for Devin Haney next? Will he go forward with a fight with Sandor Martin, where he'll get paid about $1.5 to $1.7 million, or something like that, against Sandor Martin? And I said, hey, if he does that, then maybe Top Rank has a plan to have a unification with Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez in 2025. We'll see how that goes, man. Hey, he says, hey, my guy Zoe's in the building, man. He says Haney sweeps Barrios. Oh yeah, that was another thing that was mentioned earlier this week too. He says Barrios sucks. Y'all know he sucks, but y'all gotta pretend he's good to pretend. I should have known Zoe would do this. Come on, man. I should have known he would do this. He says, Devin Haney's back to free TV regardless. Hey, listen. If he's getting paid $1.5 million to fight Sandor Martin, I don't know if they're going to put that on the free TV. I don't know, man. What they said, Ryan's going to offer Devin 10% in the rematch, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. He says that Ryan Garcia sucked too until he didn't. Hey, he did what he did in this fight against Devin Haney, man. So it is what it is, man. GM says, hey, Barrios might beat up Lil Devi. Hey, if Devin Haney, wants to consider moving up to 147 pounds, he did, send a little bit of a message to Mauricio Suleiman there because, yes, Mario Barrios was elevated to full champion there after being interim champion as Terrence Crawford is fully moving up to 154 pounds. So you got Mario Barrios as a full WBC champion at 147 pounds. So I don't know. Maybe Devin Haney would consider having a fight there with Mario Barrios. I mean, all they got to do is just put in the request to say, hey, I'm moving up. And if he does that, then he'll be, among those top rated contenders out there in the 147-pound division. It's not like automatic like WBO is, though. You know what I'm saying? So we got to see how that is. Maurice Jones, shout out to Maurice Jones, Four Corners Boxing. He says Devin Haney is about to fight on Triller soon. No promoter wanted to sign his case. Oh no. Oh man, that's wild, man. That's crazy, man. And Zoe says, hey, Ryan still sucks, man. I don't know, man. I might open it up here a little bit more what I got. Been in about 55 minutes, man. Hey, Zoe Mo Jones here, wants to come through it or share their thoughts, man. I'm gonna open up the joint here for the conversation. So I'm gonna see here if y'all got it. Put on the link there for y'all too, man. But yeah, I think it's mainly all up on what Dev is going to do next. I mean, that's going to be the move. I know he has this whole thing with the lawsuit that he's putting down there for Ryan Garcia, but yeah, outside of that, man, I just don't know, what direction he's going to go after with that. You know what I'm saying? GM says, you know why I don't give a rat's ass about the PEDs? Because nobody asked Devin to fight Ryan. Yeah. To be honest, yeah. Like there wasn't really any obligation there for Devin Haney to fight Ryan Garcia. You
What
know what
what the what in the hell does that have to do with anything? Nobody asked him to fight him. What does that got to do with somebody doping?
I'm saying?
Nobody asked
Ryan Garcia to use the PEDs.
yeah, nobody asked him to use thank you. Nobody asked him to use PDs. It was smart because he won at the end of the day, he won. He's the biggest winner. So props to him for winning the chess move. But come on, that ain't got nothing to do with anything.
Word, word. All right, man. I got another guest with me jumping on here. Of course, representing Four Corners Boxing. My guy, Fight Night Mo, is in the building. What's happening with you?
What's up, King man? How you doing, my brother? Peace and blessings. If y'all ain't subscribed to the Boxing Source, y'all better do so now. Hit the like button, subscribe.
Yeah, big ups, man. Big ups for all the support, man. For sure, man. What's up with you, Mo, man? I know you had your thoughts here on the chat in reference to this, man. You said Devin Haney's about to fight on the man.
Listen, man, I just feel like, all right, I look at it from all aspects, right?
Mhm.
Cheating is cheating. I don't condone it at all. I hate it for the sport. Ryan, with that being said, if it is, that's what he fully did. Because if that's what he fully did, it sucks for him because it took away from a great night. I was there at Barclays when he fought Devin. It took away from a great night of boxing. It took away from the sport, and it left a real bad sour taste in um, the sport of boxing's mouth. Um, but on the other end,
It's semi-sour. It's not completely sour. It's only it's semi-sour. It's not
semi
completely sour.
sour.
Yeah.
But on the other end, I also look at the people who played hands in this, like the man who's in charge of Snack. I ain't gonna say his name, but we know who it is. Mis-
Uh-huh.
My man with the glasses. We're gonna leave it as
Mr.
that.
Vic.
Yeah, you can say his name. This is your platform, so you
Yeah,
can
the
say his
Vic
name. So
Fani. And that, that's very interesting because one of the most vocal people over the past couple of weeks in reference to all of this has been Mr. Victor Hunt, which is very interesting in itself.
so with that being said, that leaves a big question mark in the did he really do it? Was it tainted? What may case may be, right? So you still got to look at the hands who played a part in this so-called investigation. Then some other things I thought about was, Devin Haney's brother and family saying, we know Ryan is guilty of certain things. We're going to find out in 2 days. How you got a 12-year-old kid specifying these type of things unless there's something that that we didn't know. So there's a couple of, questionable marks that played there. But now when I look at the fight, I'll analyze it again. It just showed there's certain things that happened in Devin's career to this point. He's been a weight bully. Now, when you get a guy that's really up to your weight and size, you can't handle it. He couldn't handle it, regardless of the performance or not, which I'm not condoning. So I don't want anyone to get saying that I'm accepting that because I absolutely don't. I'm saying for the record, I don't condone any type of performance enhancement in any type of sport. But he could not stop Ryan left hand for nothing. It's like he was blind on that side.
Right.
And he told him, "Oh, if I only got the left, you got to stop it." And I said this going into the fight. I said it on my podcast, and I talked to many people. I said, if Devin goes in with the mentality of fighting the fight that Ryan wants him to fight, which is to be aggressive, to stand
Mm,
there toe to toe and try to slug it out, he's going to have a very difficult time and he will lose the fight. And he
right.
did that. Ryan played off of Devin's emotions. The whole thing when they were at the was Empire State Building. He
Yeah.
came in there looking like Rambo. He got in Devin's face, got all in his head. He played all the mental game with Devin, and Devin did not do what he does, which is actually box. He wanted to stand there and be a slugger and thug it out and try to prove a point. And I think a lot of things with people in the boxing world have
Right.
been saying Devin's soft. He ain't got a chin. He's a punk. He from Henderson. Da, da, da. I think a lot of that starts to build up, and he's like, I got to test my man. My manhood's being tested. I got to prove myself. And
Yeah.
he fell into Ryan's game, and he was getting dropped. He was getting rocked,
Right.
and it was nothing spectacular Ryan did. I'm not gonna. He didn't do nothing spectacular that fight. He just was being a bully and aggressive, and that's what caused him to fight.
Damn. Word. All right. I'm gonna get in one of our what'll be a new guest here. We're gonna see how this rolls out, man, because he's had a number of things that share reference to this stuff here with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. But GM's in the building first time. Introduce yourself there, GM.
What's up, y'all?
What happened?
Salute,
Appreciate,
salute, King, salute.
yeah, salute. Appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah, no doubt, man. So yeah, go ahead, because this is coming off of your last comment, man. Because
Yeah,
I pretty much like felt like, yeah, where did this whole thing with Dev and Ryan come up? You know, as far as like an actual fight, because I didn't really expect Devin Haney to like go ahead and choose Ryan Garcia like that. But I mean, shoot, even Ryan Garcia wasn't saying nothing like that. He was going after like who was it, Rolly Romero or somebody? You know what I'm saying?
hmm
So where did the whole thing with the Devin Haney come up with to like actually have that fight? So it was like I guess Devin Haney wanted to, have quote unquote a big fight, and that's where the whole thing with Ryan Garcia came in for that.
right. So my thing is like, I always looked at it like this: like Devin was chasing legacy. That was his thing, right?
Yeah,
And he was always talking about how he don't care about the money. He want the legacy, right?
yeah,
And then as soon as it became undisputed, that kind of created a shift. And then that's like what he's been on, like trying to become a pay-per-view star, right?
hmm,
And I was always cool with, I mean, after the Ryan got exposed, in my opinion, by Tank, I was cool with just assuming that Devin would beat Ryan, right? I
yeah,
was cool with just that assumption alone, right?
yeah,
Maybe later down the line they could have fought, but I was originally cool with that, right? Even though if you had asked me, like, and that even like as the fight got announced, like I started thinking about it, I'm like, I really think Devin might lose to Ryan just because it's not a good style matchup for him, right? But I was not interested in the fight. So
mm,
just that alone happening, and then it was kind of forced upon us. I felt like it was force fed to us. It was a bad week. It was like finals weekend, a weekend for or the NBA or something like that. I think there was playoffs going on. It was just bad timing, bad location, and then you had
totally
Ryan
agree with that
Ryan
particular
talking
situation.
crazy. It
Mhm.
was kind of forced, and he had an out. He had an out. He could have fought Barboza, and I was just like, you know what? I don't really care that this happened to you right now at this point in time because I really didn't even care about the fight in general. I don't care to keep talking about it. I get it, he cheated, but like you lost and you picked the wrong cherry and you got exposed. We seen things that can happen to you, whether or not you want to say it's the Osterian, it can happen to Devin because we seen it happen by somebody who can hit him with that left hook, whether it's Ryan or Osterian or what. It happened to him. You know what I mean? We didn't seen people be on PEDs before and lose, so we know it can happen.
Mhm.
And at this point in time, it's just like it is what it is. I don't really feel bad for him. Like you shouldn't have fought him. And it's the same thing. Like if Tiafimo he's fighting Steve Claggett. Nobody asked for that fight.
Right.
If he loses to Steve Claggett, and if we find out that Steve Claggett was on PDs, I'm not gonna care because who asked for that fight? I
Mm.
do not
So
care that you lost to him and he had PEDs because who asked for that fight? You shouldn't have fought him.
I got a question.
You know,
Hmm.
I got a question.
Yeah, go
So
ahead.
so correct me if I'm wrong. I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. So
Hmm.
you saying just because, relatively speaking, if the opponent doesn't mean anything, then you don't care if the opponent is taking PEDs. If the opponent doesn't mean anything, then you shouldn't care that he's taking PEDs as the the main fighter or whatever. Is that what you're saying?
In a sense, but like I don't want you to think too like deeply into it. What I'm basically saying is like, look, it happened, right? I feel like, look, I look at it like this. Look, it happened. If Devin would have just shut his mouth, let it play out the way it played out, then we could have just gone past it. I still have my question mark over his head because he got his ass whooped. But like we could see about it. But like the way he's been like kind of just keeping it alive and just continuously talking about it. You got people talking about. I'm just like, bro, I'm over this. I don't even care no more. You just talking too much. Like you
Just
get it,
like it's overexposure. You're
right?
oversaturating it. You know what I mean? So I kind
Like,
of get that
I got
aspect.
another question.
hmm
So is it more so that, and I don't mean this in any type of way, so don't take I'm saying this any type of way, but is it
hmm
more so that you don't necessarily care for Devin? Why you don't care that he got beat up in a sense? Is that like the real issue, that you don't care for him as a boxer?
No,
That
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do not care about Devin like that. One, but I feel like if Tank Davis right now was to go fight whoever, like let's say pick somebody, man.
let's
Like
say if he fought Ryan and Ryan won
Barbosa.
after taking, let's say if he fought Ryan and Ryan won after taking PEDs, would you
I
care
mean,
then?
Zepeda.
No,
Yeah.
let's
not
say
just
Ryan. Would you care if he fought Ryan and Ryan won?
like Ryan right now, like after he already fought him.
No, no, no. Let's just say in the fight. Let's just imagine this imaginary world. Let's say when they first fought, let's say Ryan was taking PEDs and it was found out after the fight, and Ryan ended up winning the fight very similarly to how he won against what's his name. Would you care that Ryan cheated Tank?
No, I mean it's a different scenario because I feel like I feel like this, right? If Devin would have fought Ryan first, right? And Ryan was undefeated, and it did make sense back then. I'm saying if Devin fought Ryan, it was a natural occurrence. They fought, and Ryan cheated. Like I probably care more. Yes, I care way more. I,
So Ryan meant more then. That what you're saying?
I don't want to say he meant more. It's just like the timing of everything. It was just like, bro, we don't want to see this fight. You have a belt. You're fighting somebody who's not even like ranked highly in your division. You're supposed to be a legacy fighter. Like let's see a Matias or Tiafimo or shit, even
Yeah.
Rolly, man. Even Rolly at the time. I wouldn't have
Well,
cared.
at the time, yeah. I mean, because like you were bringing up, the whole thing was that okay? The thing with what is it, Ryan Garcia, right? Because one of the stories back then was that Ryan Garcia was actually supposed to be fighting Teofimo Lopez around February, but that whole thing got shot down, right?
Mm.
So with that being out of the way, that was not an option. That's when you heard like Ryan Garcia talking about potentially fighting Rolly Romero,
Rolly.
you know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with Devin wasn't necessarily in the radar, and then all of a sudden, oh, now we get a Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney, and just going off of that reactively was that it looked like Devin Haney, was trying to do some type of thing where he was moving towards being a bigger star, bigger, box office star, and that type of thing. And some fans off of a certain group were saying, "Hey, maybe Devin Haney's trying to do this to see if he could pull numbers similar to Tank Davis when Tank Davis fought Devin Haney," but it ended up backfiring at that particular time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. And I agree with you on that source because you look at the payout that Ryan had. Ryan didn't really have to go back in the ring right away to fight Devin. He could have chilled out. He was sitting on a $30 million payout from fighting Tank. His stock was going up through the roof, even though he quit. You know what I'm saying? So he was known for like, okay, his stock's going up. But I think the whole situation with this whole Devin Haney thing is, I think
Mm,
it's the way he went about it. I think it's the way he's going about it. I think he's just being a crybaby and a sore loser, and like and he's dragging it along, like he's killing it. He's trying to
yeah,
constantly keep beating a dead horse. So my thing is, if you didn't want to have the fight, so this is the thing about boxing, right? When it came in, of a first night when they had the win, Ryan came in. I think it was like almost 3.3 pounds, something like that, almost
yeah.
3.5 pounds over.
Hmm.
He already pays you almost a $1.5 million purse. You could have got that money and canceled the fight because that's what happens contractually. If a fighter doesn't make weight, you have the option to say, "Listen, they didn't fight. They didn't stick to their agreement. I'm out. I'm gonna take the penalty and what's owed to me, and that's that." But no, he kept his word. He paid you the money, right?
Yep.
You knew he was coming in overweight. You already knew because he came in 3.3, about 3.2, 3.3 pounds overweight. I already knew Ryan was going to come in overweight. When he got on the scale, he drank a beer. He said it wasn't a beer, but it looked like a beer to me. My
Yeah.
man was drinking and got on the scale. I'm like, oh yeah, he don't care. He just want to prove a point that he better than you.
Would
He
you have
went and
paid the extra thing if you was taking steroids too? Would it have
if I would
been
have,
a drop in the bucket if you knew that you had a competitive advantage of taking steroids? I would
would
have.
I have? They already made the agreement, so he paid it. He paid the 1.1. I think it was about 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 mil. He paid it. He stood on his agreement. Did the fact that what kills me after he paid you the money, you accepted the fight. You didn't have to accept the fight. You still accepted it. You lost. I think for Devin, it was more so of not him losing. It's two factors: who he lost to and how he lost. I think his manhood was hurt. I think his dad and people around him hyped him up so much that he was big headed and he overlooked Ryan. He thought he was gonna probably do the same thing that Tank did to Ryan, and that wasn't the case. He overlooked his opponent. He got too full of himself. And like I said earlier, he fought Ryan's fight. Instead of
Yeah.
being a boxer, Devin is not known for knockouts. He has the least amount of knockouts in that weight class. He's not known. The fact that you have to get a tattoo and put it on your body of your last clear knockout states that you're not a knockout artist. So why would you go in there and fight a game like that? That's not your style. You're a boxer. Use the jab. He has a great jab. He has great distance. He has good IQ. Stick to what works for you. But you wanted to go in there and try to be on some macho man, let your ego get involved, and it got your ass whooped. And that's just a fact.
See, I don't
What
even look
make
at it like that.
I you have to look at it, and
Let's pull up
that's how
this
I look
comment.
at it.
Pull up the comment, Jr. Pull up the comment. The latest comment.
He
So
said,
you know,
this.
Yes. Are y'all okay with PEDs? Answer that question, please.
absolutely.
No.
I said it earlier. Absolutely not. In no type of sport. I'm not okay with it at all. And that's
But
what. And I'm more mad with Ryan how this played out because finding out this later that this transpired, it's like, bro, it sucked. You had a good performance, and now this hinders you for the rest of your career.
I want to believe you
But
when you say that, but you said but after that statement when you said that. I just want to point that out, which means that everything before the but could be overlooked.
What?
Like Ryan taking them PEDs.
What? I don't know. I don't condone any PEDs for nothing.
That's fair.
For nothing. I was an athlete all the way throughout the college, so I never did that. I played football and basketball all the way out through college, so I don't condone anything of that. And I know people who used to take that type of shit, and I was like, bro, like, why are you doing that? You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna. In your mind, it's gonna help your performance, but in the health aspect later, it's gonna have side effects. You
yep.
know, I was a big wrestling fan, and look at all these guys later. Look at Hulk Hogan. Look at some of these guys, bro.
Brother.
They look they're washed up. They barely can speak. Like their physical physique is demolished because of these things. So these are the things guys don't think about. You know, you think about the quick effect now, but think about what it's going to do to you years down the road, mentally and physically. So
Well,
you
let me
know,
tell you something there, Maurice Jones. I've been taking steroids for a long time, man. And I think it's a great thing for me. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you a
Go ahead.
question. Wait, what's his name? Boxing academic? Is that your name?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. Boxing academic. So, if let's say, like hypothetically speaking, let's say Devin had fought Jake Paul, right? Nobody asked for him to fight Jake Paul, and then we find out Jake Paul had PEDs in his system and he beat Devin. Like, do you think we would still be talking about this to this day if that was the case? Like, do we really care that much that Jake Paul used PEDs and beat Devin? We would
Well,
just throw it out the window.
I think
Go
the
ahead.
fact that Devin I don't know. Like I haven't watched Devin socially to know what it is, but whatever about Devin, he's not a likable person. People don't like him, which
Yeah.
means that like people do not like him, which means that in anything he's not gonna get the benefit of the doubt, whether on whatever side he's on it. If he the one that fight boxing him and moving, people be like, you boring. If he get knocked down 2-3 times, they're like, oh, you got exposed, which he did. So to answer your question, do I think that if Jake Paul beat him and knocked him out or knocked him down or won, however, and it came up that he used PEDs, would we still be talking about it? Yes, because people would be pointing at Devin and gloating in his face because they don't like him. And it's just about, it's something that he's done to make people, maybe it is the fact that I would say he did try to dare to be great, fighting Lomachenko. This was more of a heist of boxing, non-boxing fans, but fighting Cambosas, because we all kind of knew that one. And then who else he fought, like, which was a good win. He got a couple.
Regis.
I
I
mean,
mean, on paper is good.
he
On
he
paper.
fought Regis, he fought JoJo, he fought Loma,
Lomachenko.
he fought Camboa, and every single one of those guys are smaller guys than him.
That's
The
true.
Fair. I mean, that's a good.
All of them are small except for Ryan. So that's what I'm saying. Like, now, how do we compare him being really that good? Like, because you fought guys that are smaller than you fought guys that don't have no boxing skill set next to you. You fought guys that are, over. Some people say Loma is over the hill, which I don't think so. I think Loma fought a really good fight. That was a very contested fight. It could have went either way that night. I had Loma winning on the scorecard, but you look at the opponents that he has, and it's like, okay, now you fight somebody. It's the saying. What happens when the bully gets bullied? So he's been a weight bully for a while. Now you fight Ryan, somebody of your class, and it's like, oh shoot, is he really ready for guys his size or the guys that can actually compete on his level? That was the question mark.
But was he on his class, or was he on his class with a needle up his ass? Was he on his class with a needle up his ass? With like no homo?
Nah, like
Paul, whatever they say. I don't know. I ain't trying to get
no Diddy. I got
thank you. No Diddy. Appreciate it. I ain't trying to get cancel. I'm sorry. No Diddy.
And that's a valid point. That's a valid point, but I think I look at it like those are just attributes that we have to ask now because of who Ryan is and what he has and how he beat him, right? But I guess I kind of put Ryan in a box. Like, even though he fought Tank, right? And we seen like that was the question mark on Ryan. Like, is he a serious fighter? And then he got beat by Tank, and I'm like, all right, not really, right? But I had him in the same box as like a Francis Ngannou, a Jake Paul, KSI, like all these fake ass YouTube boxers that I don't care about, right? And in the same way that after Tank fought him, like, all right, that's done. We can end that chapter, like right now. Like, yeah, he can fight still, but like I'm cool off of him. We don't have to talk about him in the conversation to these select few individuals who are elite fighters, right? That's how I thought.
Yeah.
And then he went to fight Devin, and then that happened, right? And it's the same thing as like if AJ had fought after if AJ lost to Ngannou, like I would not care at all if he was on PEDs or anything. Like you fighting Francis Ngannou. I don't care if Ngannou's on trend. You should be beating his ass. You get what I'm saying?
I hear you, but I think that's a disservice to Ryan Garcia.
It is, but that's what he put himself in that box. He put himself in that box, right?
Like,
you're right, but the Ryan Garcia that I saw fight Tank Davis had Tank on the ropes for how many rounds? He had Tank reeling for a few rounds before he quit. Like he was bothering Tank for quite a while. Like, if people go back and watch the fight, it was a good fight until it wasn't.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. The same way. Ryan's game plan was somewhat similar. The fight that Ryan fought Tank was somewhat similar to the way he fought Devin, was, I'm bigger than you. I'm gonna approach you. I'm gonna bring the fight. That's
Yeah.
Ryan's style. He says it in his interview. He told Devin the whole time, I'm not. You're boring to me. I'm not. I'm not here to watch the 1-2 tap tap and run. I'm gonna stand in the middle of the ring. Meet me in the middle of the ring like a man, and we're gonna throw punches and I'm gonna knock your ass out. And Devin fell for the trap. So that's what Devin's downfall was at in this fight,
Yes.
because I
Yeah.
think I think if he would have stuck to what he does and not what Ryan does and what Ryan wanted him to do, it could have been a different outcome for Devin, and we would not have this conversation of PEDs and Ryan taking this and that, because it wouldn't have had gotten to this case. But
Right.
because Ryan fell for the trap, I mean Devin fell for the trap, and he didn't take this L like he should have in the beginning. Like I'm just saying in the beginning, when we didn't really know what was going on, it's like, oh shoot, he just being a sore loser, he crying about it. Then they go, oh no, he popped. Okay, he popped not once but twice. Okay, now he got the WBC on the side. He got this guy from Snack on this in Devin corner. So it's like weird hands that was involved with this. So it's like, did he really pop? Did he not pop? Now people is just like, yo, I don't even care. Like my brother said on here, like I don't even care. People like they don't care about it. Like if he did, he did. If he didn't, he didn't.
But I appreciate some points my brother's saying, but the point I don't think that he actually hear himself saying is, I don't care what's going on because I don't care about Devin. That you got to say that whole sentence, which is
No,
fair. I mean,
it's
that's
not just
understandable.
it's not just Devin though. Like this is how I look at it. Like, all right, so Devin lost to Ryan. That added a bunch of like I already had question marks for Devin, right? But that added a bunch of new question marks on Devin, right? Now we find out Ryan was on PEDs. All that does is add additional question marks. It's not taking away from the question marks we still have of Devin, right? Do he actually have a chin? Like you could say, oh yeah, he got knocked down, he didn't get knocked out, but like, do he have a chin? Can he take a left hook? Does he adjust? Because he wasn't adjusting. Like and a lot of people will say like, oh, it was the game plan. Like I don't even look at it like that. As soon as I seen Devin go like when he first came out, he was gonna go into his usual game plan where he uses that jab. He threw the jab, and Ryan came right over that jab
Right
with a
over it.
left hook. So
Mhm.
the game plan's out the window right there. He can't
Yep.
throw the jab no more because he's gonna get countered with the left hook, and that's what happened the rest of the fight. So yeah, he's down on the cards because he got knocked down. No, maybe he has to fight a little bit more aggressive. Maybe try to fight on the inside or something. But you seen what happened. Like that's all I look at it like. And if you want to say that Ryan was on PEDs, fine, that's cool. We can call it a no contest or whatever. But like to be honest, a clean Ryan, I still think could probably beat Devin.
Like because
Based upon his performance when he had PEDs, you're basing it off that performance, right?
Yeah, because I'm just looking at it like, look, I seen based off the like literally, I watched the fight, man, and Ryan was literally out adjusting Devin. Like the little slight adjustments Devin would make, like Ryan would come back with a different adjustment.
mm,
Like I'm talking just punch selection
right.
alone, and I really felt like I was watching two amateurs fight. Anyways, like you could put both of them in a B level at best. Like to be honest,
Man.
they not good.
All right.
Wow. Well, that
I'll,
was the seventh fight. So
I'll close off this topic here, man, with going back to one of my questions earlier when it comes to Devin Haney, because he has this thing here with the lawsuit, but like we talk about his overall value now and the current situation that he has, where is he going to fight Sandor Martin or not? So I wanted to go through the panel here. What do you think may be next for Ryan? Devin Haney. I'm gonna start with Box Academic. Then I'm gonna go to Fight Night Mo, and then the GM. So go ahead, Box Academic.
I don't know. I would like to hear everybody else. I'm not sure. I don't know.
All right, gotcha. Mo, what do you think Devin Haney should end up doing next?
I would, between with the situation, I would like to see him fight Sandor Martin. I think he needs to get back. Right now his image needs to get cleaned back up. He needs to get himself back in that realm of being someone that can be invested into. Let me put it that way.
Okay.
He needs to get promoters to really look at him and get their eye again. I think Sandor Martin is going to be a good test for him, just because of the fact that we've seen what Sandor Martin did with Teofimo Lopez and the
Mhm.
fight that he gave Teofimo. So I think that'll be a good test for him. Sandor Martin's a tricky kind of fighter. You know, he is he's not your typical um Spanish fighter. He's kind of unorthodox and he throws at different angles. And I think that's going to be a good test for Devin. The only thing, like once again,
Mhm.
can his chin take a punch like that in that weight class? And we
Yeah,
know
that's my
that
thing.
Sandor Martin, when he fought Teo, he had Teo on some moments in that fight that it was looking like, oh, Teo might get upset this night. So I'm looking at that. I think he needs to get back in there, and that would be a good quote unquote tune up fight for him again to get his feet back, to get his feet wet back at 140. Because everybody else will be tough for him. I'm gonna be honest. I don't see him fighting no TO anytime soon.
Mm.
I don't see him fighting Sabril Matias anytime soon. I don't see him fighting. Who else we got at champ? I don't see him fighting a Pitbull.
Yeah.
I definitely think he should stay away from Pitbull. That is the last person he needs to talk about having a fight with at 140. Because
Mm.
that type of approach that Pitbull got, I don't see Devin making it past 6 rounds with that type of approach.
Ooh.
Because his his name, Pitbull. So we see the guys that are listed at 140, the best bet is for him to just fight your mandatory Sandor Martin, see how that goes. If you could beat the number one contender in your sanctioned rankings, that should set you up for more better things to come. And he got to clean his name back up right now. So, and it ain't helping with these lawsuits and all this other stuff that he's doing right now. So,
Yeah, we gotta see how he fixes up his image. If he goes forward with this fight against Sandor Martin and has a very impressive performance or whatever it is, and that could, get him back going. But we'll see how that is, man. Shout out to Malachi Ross here in the building, 156-pound amateur there. He says Devin Haney's good. Ryan was on PED. Sandor Martin is the perfect fight for him. We'll see about that. Hey, GM, you got any thoughts here for Devin Haney before we go into this next major topic here?
Yeah. So for his next step, I think he's kind of at a dilemma right now where he has to figure out if he wants to take a year off and try to get that rematch with Ryan so he can like kind of save face and like he obviously does not want to go back to free TV or he fights Sandor. But I personally believe that's his best option is to fight Sandor and to keep that belt because he's gonna lose a lot of other future options if he gets rid of that belt. And I think originally I thought even though like obviously as fans we're just gonna say it's the PEDs and like he wants us to think that way. I think he knows better than we do that it might be more than just the PEDs, right? And if that's the case, then the worst thing for Devin would be for him to rematch Ryan, wait a year, rematch Ryan, and then lose again, clean. That would his career would be done.
Yeah,
So
his
I think
career.
Sandor is the
that's a
best
good
bet.
point.
Yeah,
Good
his career
point.
will be done. And the thing with me is like with fighters of that caliber or whatever it is with Devin Haney pretty much like fighters across the board. I want to see them get in the ring as often as possible. So you wouldn't want to have it to a situation where you're ending up not fighting for 12 months. You want to see if you can get yourself back in the ring, be able to be sharp, be able to stay sharp, all that type of stuff. So, great option would be to fight Sandor Martin, set that up for like, September or October fight or something like that. My major hangup was for that is, with Devin Haney getting the purse that he would be getting for that particular fight, will they be able to have that, on free TV. So that remains to be seen. But I don't know. Maybe Top Rank will have them in a Top Rank special to set up on a Thursday night against Sando Martin like they had Shakur Stevenson against Edwin De Los Santos. I don't know. I don't know. But now just moving on to the next major topic there. You're on ESPN on Friday. They had their fight card there with that world title fight. But they did mention there that you had parties for Top Rank and you had parties for Gervonta Tank Davis in negotiations for a potential fight between Tank Davis and Vasyl Lomachenko. I kind of reacted soon after Tank Davis's win over Frank Martin that they were pretty much going to be leaning towards having that fight taking place. So I think that there with the landscape of the lightweight division, the top of the lightweight division, that you would have Tank Davis fighting Vasyl Lomachenko first, and then later on down the line, particularly with Tank Davis, if he ends up beating Lomachenko, that he would fight Shakur Stevenson. But now with the recent news with Shakur Stevenson and how what is it, Bob Arum talking about Shakur Stevenson? Look, Shakur Stevenson can't draw flies to shit. I mean, or whatever it is that he's saying. It's almost like it's almost looking like they aren't leaning towards having Shakur Stevenson re-sign with Top Rank after his fight coming up on July 6th in Newark against Hardim Hartunian. So I think things are up in the air as far as like the near future there with Shakur Stevenson. There have been rumors that he could maybe sign with Floyd Mayweather and TMT Promotions. I mean, we've seen him with Floyd Mayweather in his last bout. But on this thing with Tank Davis and Vasyl Lomachenko, I think that's something that a lot of fight fans have been waiting for some years now. Shout out to Matt Gomez in the building. He says it won't be a fight. It'll be Blaze and Hagler versus Hearns 3-rounder, or like Tank is going to try to solve the Rubik's Cube in Lomachenko, man. I mean, we'll see, man, because I think it's going to be a great fight. But with Lomachenko now, is he going to be the quote unquote Matrix Lomachenko, or are we going to see something where it's more of like the Lomachenko that he fought, where he fought against like a Teofimo Lopez or a Devin Haney? Because for me, with those fights and also the fight against Jermaine Ortiz, was that you saw these fighters with at least a little bit of athleticism and had some good movement against Lomachenko, and that he had some issues dealing with those type of fighters. And here with Tank Davis, to think that he is one of the more athletic fighters out there, and also has the power behind him. So lefty versus lefty too. Hey, I think it's going to be a good matchup for as long as it lasts if they put it together there. But it remains to be seen if they're going to actually make it happen. GM, I'm going to go to you first, man. What do you think about that potential fight, or if you would be interested in that fight being next for Tank and Lomachenko?
Yeah, I think that fight makes the most sense right now. I'd love to see that fight. It's been a long time coming. I feel like, I've always felt like this, but I definitely feel like Tank Loma will be pretty easy for Tank. I just don't think that Loma has. I think it'll look like Frank and Tank. I don't think Loma has as much power as Frank. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty easy, clean sweep, and hopefully we can get Shakur versus if Shakur does what he has to do against Hartunian, he fights Baranchek, and then
Yeah.
we can get the undisputed. And I'm pretty sure that could happen once Bob actually sees the numbers of a
Mm-hmm.
Tank and Loma fight. He might be way more willing to work with Al Heyman for a Shakur versus Tank, undisputed fight, and I'm sure Bob has faith in Shakur. So
I mean, if he's able to negotiate for this particular fight, I don't see why he wouldn't, negotiate for, a Shakur versus Tank fight, potentially down the line. I think it's, something where he doesn't want to invest, I guess, more money towards Shakur Stevenson for another, I would say just another year, because I would say that fight would happen in around this time in 2025. So I don't see why not, hold on to Shakur a little bit longer for that. But on the flip side, too, with Shakur Stevenson, my thing with Shakur is he has too many hands in the pot. So it's not just, Bob Arum, you got Antonio Leonard, you got Jay Prince, and that would be very interesting if you had, Floyd Mayweather involved, because about the whole story with Floyd Mayweather and Jay Prince, man. That was crazy there, though. But yeah, I feel like that would be an interesting pairing if Shakur Stevenson ends up with Floyd Mayweather there on that aspect. Mo, I know you were out there for that. Like I said, Tank versus Frank fight, and you've been at multiple fights, of course, with Tank Davis. What do you think about this potential fight with Tank and Lomachenko?
I'm excited for it. The time is now. I know they were talking about it prior before the Frank fight, before Tank versus Frank, and Tank did what he had to do, handle business, and I think this could be a fight that is much needed for both guys, because I think Tank now he's getting in that realm that he's him, and Lomachenko just came off a good performance against Kambosa.
Yeah,
That he had, he won the strap again, another title. So this is definitely good for boxing. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see it. They're saying that fight will happen sometime around the fall. So expect it sometime between September, November,
November,
and
yeah.
that time frame. So, and who knows, they might give us a Christmas gift. We might even get it pushed to around Christmas time. But, I doubt that, though, because, the people, they know that Christmas money a little different. So they want to make their profit.
Yeah.
So I definitely think it's going to be a good one. And I think they're going to run it back in Vegas. From what I'm hearing, it possibly could be in Vegas, back
Yeah.
at MGM, or either they're going to, I know Tank's people been, they've been saying they want to do something in the Raiders Stadium. So they possibly could try to push it in the Raiders Stadium. That would be insane, because
Yeah.
of the owner is a big fan of Tank. He's been
Oh
to
yeah.
about
Yep.
3 fights now.
Yep.
I think he's been to about 3 or 4 fights of Tank, sitting ringside. So that's an easy make to happen. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to that, and it's gonna be a good one. But I don't think that Loma's gonna do anything to stop Tank. I think, honestly, I think it's gonna be worse than Frank Martin, because Loma's a smaller guy. And
Yeah.
Loma's not known for having that real pop. A lot of people don't realize Loma comes up from a lower weight class. He's not a really 135er. He's been in 135. He's performed, but he's not a true 135 pounder. And I don't think he is gonna be able his pop ain't gonna last for 12 rounds. He don't
Oh
got nothing to stop Tank. It's
yeah.
just a matter of when and how, what Tank is gonna do to him, what round and how it's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's gonna be real bad situation, I think, for Lomachenko if he doesn't have the mobility to kind of like keep up or keep around Tank Davis, because it's the thing about it is with Tank is that he's his dimensions are almost like Floyd Mayweather or like Terrence Crawford, in that the height is a certain height, but his reach is kind of is long for a fighter of his height.
Right.
So the thing with Tank is he's gonna initially, from the tail of the tape, he's gonna have a longer reach than a Vasyl Lomachenko, and of course he's gonna be faster too. So and like GM said, and like you said, Mo, he don't have the pop to keep Tank at bay. So he's gonna really rely on his movement and see if he's gonna be able to do that, and that's gonna be something else. All right.
And that's another thing too,
Yeah.
because if we look at when he fought Devin was getting a lot of good body shots in, and that was bothering him. So you imagine if Devin was getting body shots and it was bothering him, what Tank gonna do with body shots?
Yeah, it's gonna be It's gonna be crazy. All right, Boxing Academic, you got your thoughts on this? We got another guest that's about to come on here in a little bit. So, Boxing Academic, what you got on Tank versus Lomachenko?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that everyone has said. Quite naturally, the end of the fight, I have a good idea how the fight will end, and it's gonna be with Lomachenko being concussed, probably. But I do think the beginning of the fight should be interesting because Tank does not jab when he closes the distance. And as much as I'm saying he doesn't consistently jab, so as much as we would want him to do,
Oh, you hear it? Oh, y'all hear him? It's up. Look like
jab.
okay. It was kind of muffled there. Go ahead. Say that again. Oh shoot! Still ain't hearing them. Hey Mo, you ain't hearing them either, right?
No, he was sounding choppy.
Yeah, it sounded choppy on there. I don't know. Academic might have to like see if he come out and go back in. Yeah, but while he does that, I'm gonna bring in another great guest. Of course, one of our fine panelists here on the Boxing Source. Of course, you know him. He's out straight out of the boogie. And he is the host of Brunch Boxing. It's our guy, MVO, in the building. What's happening with you, MVO?
I'm so happy that Mike's internet cut him off from saying one of the dumbest things he ever started to say. Okay, so I'm happy that happened. Okay, Tank versus Lomachenko is the fight I want. That's the fight I'm looking forward to. Should happen, like Bob Arum said, sometime in November. And I think Tank cleans him up, and he's going to be the first person to stop Vasyl Lomachenko.
That was my thing is that
That man, no boxer.
is that we'll see if Tank Davis is going to be the man to stop Vasyl Lomachenko. I think that was the chase, so to speak, between Tank Davis and Shakur Stevenson as far as like trying to get in that fight with Lomachenko and be the first guy not to basically beat him, but to like completely beat him and to stop him. So there was that. But we'll have another attempt here. Brother Box Academic is back. Of course, you have this ongoing rivalry with MVO and the Box Academic. Box Academic, are you back here clear with us?
Yes, I hope I am. MVO, don't start this high school shit because I know I'm gonna get picked on because you popular and shit. So don't start it. But all I was saying was I agree with everyone else that the fight gonna end with Lomachenko being concussed. However, the fact that Tank doesn't jab when he walk in, the beginning of the fight should be interesting. Meaning that I won't Tank the jab and the fight will end a lot sooner. But the fact that he doesn't do it, Lomachenko can bank himself a couple rounds. Now the wild card is gonna be, which I think that this ain't gonna matter, but I don't think that Lomachenko's jab will affect Tank enough to keep Tank off of him. But Tank is gonna have to wait him around to like the middle rounds because if he's not jabbing, Lomachenko could literally just move out the way. Now, the punch that I think that may stop Lomachenko, if he does this that he normally does, you know how he get on the front foot and sort of like do the feint to where he think about throwing the punch and try to like feint you into doing a move, but then he also throw that punch when he get on his front foot. Tank probably gonna catch him on that beat and then do an uppercut and probably catch him or hurt him on that type of beat. So that shit that he does when he be dancing and going on that front leg, he can't do that. I mean, he got to be literally be on his back foot and essentially jab and win a boring fight, like somebody said with Frank Martin. But he just can't be afraid to throw big punches. He got to throw some big punches to at least deter Tank, though.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that I think Tank is going to have that confidence of, Lomachenko. I don't think Lomachenko has enough punches to hurt me, but I'm gonna bait him. I'm going to bait him. I'm gonna have him, start to throw that right jab. I'm gonna have him throw combinations 1, 2, 3, and be confident in throwing those combinations, and then seeing what he's gonna do after the 2 or after the 1 if he does a 1-2-1, and if he moves, and then after that, that's when I'm going to throw my punch. And listen, I'm Tank Davis. You ain't going to be able to take my punches. So whether it's going to be a counter left hook downstairs or counter left going up, I think it's going to be something where he's going to try to set that trap up for Lomachenko again, and it's not gonna be pretty, man. Because like I said, with Tank Davis, he has those dimensions of where he's going to have the longer reach, even though he's going to be the shorter fighter. He's going to have the longer reach, and he's going to be the faster fighter too. Whether Lomachenko is the one that's more known to put punches together, it won't matter with Tank Davis, because his response is going to be faster and it's going to have more pop behind it. So that's the thing that Lomachenko is going to have to deal with. You know what I mean?
So let me ask you a question,
All
because
right.
this just popped in my mind. Due to the fact that he knows that he's outmatched in certain categories, which is a lot, the power, the speed, the age. Do you think later on in the fight, I don't know why I just thought of this, you think that he's going to end up playing the Shakur game?
I don't
So
think
he
he can.
so that way he don't end up
What's the
on
Shakur game? What's the
yes,
Shakur
man,
game?
run like a track star.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. How he gonna survive the fight by running like a track star? That's the only way he survives.
Yeah, but the thing with Stevenson is, like, Stevenson is a guy that has like dimensions like completely different, because he's there at 5'8". So 5'8" compared to another guy that's like there at 5'6" maybe with Lomachenko. Like, I don't think that Lomachenko has that type of dimension to really gauge the distance like that. So
Yeah.
I don't think Lomachenko would be able to do that.
Okay, I hope not. I don't know why I just popped the mat. I'm like, I hope he doesn't start to worry. He feels that power. He's like, listen, I'm not trying to end up on the ESPN top 10. I'm going to do what I need to do to survive.
Nah, man.
But I don't, him being Ukrainian, those Ukrainian fighters got pride. They got pride. But
Man, that man gonna use his brain. He gonna stay on that back foot and keep moving. And the fact that Tank don't jab, he gonna allow him to make it to round 10, because Tank don't jab when he set up them power punches. Because until he get tired, he ain't gonna just be. I don't expect him to just be sitting there on the ropes, or be too stationary. And if he is, they would that wouldn't be a good deal if he was too stationary.
But there's things he don't have to. Tank don't really have to. He can utilize his jab if he wants to. But one thing that I noticed, that I've seen the breakdown with Frank Martin, who's a bigger guy, that jab he throws to that solar plex, to that belly, that got pop behind it. You seen Frank fidget a couple times when he had to curl up, and if Tank gets inside to throw a couple of those, man, listen, that's changing the game.
Yeah. But the thing about it was with the Frank Martin fight, though, is that at least Frank Martin had the ability in those first couple of rounds to like mix up things, as far as like jabbing upstairs and jabbing to the body, and then also trying to catch Tank with the counter left hands. But the thing with Frank Martin is he has more behind his punches to me than Vasyl Lomachenko, and I don't think Vasyl Lomachenko is going to approach this particular fight against Tank Davis like a counter puncher. He's going to be, trying to be economical, try to be, something where he could find any openings and just take advantage of any openings that would be there with Tank Davis. But Tank Davis is a guy that allows you to like say, hey, okay, I got this opening, I'll take it. Yeah, because I'm giving it to you. That's basically what Tank Davis is saying.
Exactly.
He'll
let you get yours off before you get his. So he likes that. And that's what I love watching him, because he's exorbitant. He's like, okay, that's all you got. And even in the Frank Martin fight, I think it was round 6, Coach Calvin asked her, yo, what he got? He ain't got no more. He breaking down. So that just shows you what type of fighter he is. Like you say, if you can't keep me off of you with no type of power for 12 rounds, it's over. It's just a matter of what round is gonna happen and how I'm gonna do it.
Yep, exactly. And that's the thing that I see here with the fight against Vasyl Lomachenko is I really don't see where Lomachenko could, properly, move around the ring to the point where he doesn't get caught. And the thing is like Tank can set up traps to where you think you might be able to get away from him, but nah, you can't, So
Question.
I think the thing is with Tank Davis, and I mentioned it in one other chat or something like that. I said his ability to cut off the ring is very underrated because you don't think that he does that type of stuff. But he did that here against Frank Martin, and with MVO here, he kind of said that as far as like the analysis of the fight is that Tank Davis basically came in there as like an aggressor, just coming with his lead foot forward and just stepped forward with his right foot basically, and just came at him. It just was like this, with a high guard, and he could do catch and shoot if he needed to. He could allow you to get them hits in or whatnot, but he was still walking forward. So in that particular strategy, he looked to try to tire down or wear down Frank Martin, and it ended up working. He could pretty much do the same thing against Vasyl Lomachenko here at this particular point because Lomachenko, yeah, he does have some movement, but it's more of like lateral movement, like going off to the side and shifting over to the left or shifting over to the right. But as far as like back and forth movement, yeah, I don't give him that much credit to kind of like doing that because as I mentioned with the likes of Teofimo Lopez, with Jermaine Ortiz and with Devin Haney to a certain extent, like there were times when they were still able to get to him because of their ability to move around the ring in a whether faster or just given the dimensions to have Vasyl Lomachenko have those type of problems. You know what I'm saying? Were you going to say something about Academic?
Yeah.
All
Is
right.
there any way in this fight? Is there any opportunity that Tank gets not overconfident, but he gets? I couldn't say Tyson Fury got overconfident in the Usyk fight, but he gets sort of laxed or whatever, and then he get caught with something that hurt him. Is there any opportunity for that to happen in this fight, where he underestimated him in a sense, and then let him take some clean shots and get hurt with some clean shots that Lomachenko lands? Is there any possibility of that happening?
Maybe from a timing standpoint, I don't think it would be somewhere he would although we did kind of overreach in a sense a couple of times there when he started to, shift towards the offensive portion against Frank Martin. He was like missing some shots wide and that type of thing. But I think there could be, those opportunities for Vasyl Lomachenko, but that's like something where he would have to almost be in a response to what Tank Davis would be doing. But still, like outside of that, I still don't see where it's a point of where he has the pop behind his punch to really, affect Tank Davis like that. That's pretty much like how I get it. MVO, what you got for the fight, if anything? I know you've been listening here for a bit.
I think Tank knocks him out. I don't see no path to victory for Lomachenko. I just don't.
Yeah.
Like Tank is a better body puncher. He has more speed. He has more power, and he has better defense. Okay, and Tank is a better counter puncher. Lomachenko is not a good counter puncher. The same problem he had with Teofimo, the same problem you're gonna have with Tank. Lomachenko does not know how to transition from offense to defense, from defense to offense. He can only do one at a time. And that is going to kill him against Tank because Tank loves to punch in between punches.
Yeah. Yep. That's the thing about it is that and MVO has mentioned this before there with Lomachenko, as far as like the transition from defense to offense, is that he doesn't, as he mentioned, he's not really like a counter puncher. It's more of like him doing the offense and then getting out of the way, getting his offense going and then getting out of the way. It's not something where he like could, move his head or slip or counter and then shoot off of that, or, just try to, come off of something where he would dodge a punch and then do a pull counter, maybe a pull counter type thing. Like Lomachenko don't be really doing that. He just, gets his offense, then uses his mobility as a defense, so to speak. But outside of that, he really doesn't have much when it comes to the defensive standpoint on that aspect. And shoot, like even with like in the fight against Devin Haney, like Devin Haney was very successful with punches to the body, whether it was jabs to the body or hooks to the body, and you really didn't see much of an answer there for Vasyl Lomachenko as far as like defending against that. It was more about him being more active on offense and trying to overwhelm Devin Haney on offense than to try to like say, hey, you know what? If he continues to go to the body, I'm gonna just try to do something where I can shield to the body, and then come off of that with a counter or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Another question.
Yeah.
So if the consensus will be that Lomachenko will likely get knocked out, why are they making this fight? Are they cashing this man out?
Could be possible. But here's the other thing too, though. Outside of Shakur Stevenson, what other options does Vasyl Lomachenko have in the lightweight division?
You saying to make money?
Well, to make money or whatever. Because, at this point, like if you look at the lightweight division, like you know that they ain't gonna he wasn't gonna fight Dennis Berinchik. That fight wasn't gonna happen. He ain't fighting his fellow countryman. So that's out of the picture. They weren't gonna set him up to fight like a Keyshawn Davis. Keyshawn Davis is like ranked pretty high in the IBF rankings right now. William Zepeda is like number one, pretty much like every single boxing organization, and there's no suggestion for that. Maybe
Yeah.
that would probably been the only option is William Zepeda.
What's wrong with fighting Zepeda?
I guess maybe the money's not there. I don't know.
It's not a draw. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's looking at Lomachenko's getting to that age where he's about to cash out of boxing soon.
Yeah.
And Bob knows. Plus, they got a history because of the fact that they've been wanting to get Tank to fight him for so many years. They wanted him. This fight was supposed to happen years ago. So this is like the fight that everyone is saying, Tank, you need to fight these so-called the four horsemen at that era, the top guys. These guys. So Loma is one of those top guys still, even at his age now. And like Tank said, he got a hit list. Lomachenko's on that hit list. So it's gonna do good for boxing. I just want to be competitive as long as it lasts for Loma.
Yeah, and the thing is with Lomachenko is basically like the whole thing with to a certain extent with like Alexander Usyk. Although like with Lomachenko, he's been more of like a guy that's been in the States or established in the States longer than Alexander Usyk has been. And Usyk is basically like a road warrior because you can't really have him as a draw. Well, of course, not in the Ukraine, but like anywhere else, maybe like what I'd say, like in Germany or something like how you had the Klitschko's or something like that, right? But Lomachenko, it's almost like the same thing. Like if you check out his last fights, where they've been at, Australia, you had the fight against Devin Haney again in the MGM Grand. Okay, cool, that's the MGM Grand, right? Jermaine Ortiz, that was in the theater in Madison Square Garden. Comey was in an actual big building, but who knows how many people attended that joint.
I was there. He beat Richard Comey like a pinata, man.
But how many people was out though?
90% Ukrainian fans. They was
Yeah,
mobbing
90%
with the money.
Ukrainian fans,
It
but
wasn't for the big room. It was not a sellout. I would
yeah,
say maybe about 45, maybe 50% capacity. It was
maybe
a lot of empty
50%
seats.
capacity, right? And
Oh,
I bet it was like part of it was kind of blocked off, like how they had that Teofimo Lopez versus Sandor Martin fight out there in the Madison Square Garden too, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
see,
Bob put it together nicely based
mhm,
on the undercard because I'm gonna be honest, the main card with him versus Comey wasn't a real draw. So they
yeah,
had to pad it where they had to put you had Big Baby Anderson,
yeah, Anderson,
Jared Big Baby Anderson, he fought. You
Keyshawn
had
Davis,
Keyshawn Davis fought on that card, I believe. Yeah,
yeah,
Keyshawn fought that night. You had Nico Ali fight on that card.
yeah,
So you had some good names on top, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Richard Torres fought that night too. Richie Torres. So you had some nice names on that card to draw interest to people to do it because the main event was like, oh, okay, this is a dud.
right, yeah. So yeah, they had to fill it up with names on the undercard for that. But yeah, still, that was kind of like what can you do there with Vasyl Lomachenko Madison Square Garden?
Matter
But
of
you
fact, I
also
think
had
you were
like
at that fight. We were at that fight together. I think
nah,
we were. You didn't
not
go to that fight?
no,
Okay.
you had he fought Nakatani there earlier, and that was like at the small venue there, Virtual Hotels, Las Vegas. You had the Tio fight was in the bubble. You had Luke Campbell was over in the UK. You had the Anthony Crolla fight was Staples Center. Okay, that's a big venue. But like, most of these fights that he's had, they've been in, either small venues or something like that. It's not been like he's a real, super draw. So thing with Lomachenko is like, okay, is this at the point where we kind of like reached our limit with Vasyl Lomachenko as far as like being able to generate, good money off of him? Maybe. But it's like, okay, what can we do now where we can maximize the profits of having Lomachenko? And it's like either see about having him against Shakur Stevenson or have him up against Tank, and we see what they feel about Shakur Stevenson at this particular point. So it's like, hey, let's make the biggest fight possible. Go ahead for that Tank Davis fight.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes
So,
I, I,
so
I got a comment to derail us.
all right.
MVO always be in the club. Let's hear him holler at somebody in the club. Come off mute and let's hear you holler at somebody. Let's see how tight your game is.
First of all, I'll be at the bar, not the club. I'm too old to go clubbing.
Well, say woo to one of them white girls. Let's see what you got.
Listen. First of all, I ain't got nothing to prove to you. I'm doing okay for myself, all right?
Okay.
Matt, you sound too far away. Say that one more time.
You can't hear me?
Now
Better
get
now.
better.
Must be these fucking AirPods.
Oh,
Uh, Right. I ain't got nothing to prove to Mike Grady. Who the fuck is Mike Grady? Come on, man.
Go and holler at that girl on riding the little automatic cow thing.
Yo, what kind of fake music? Come on, man.
You in one of them bars. That's the type of music you listening to.
uh,
Actually, I'm listening to someone sing right now. Someone's singing Lady Gaga, You and I.
Okay, you need to come back on when you get on the karaoke. When you get on the mic.
man.
I got some Jackson 5 queued up. Shake your body down to the ground.
Hey, that's what's up.
We should be hold on. I ain't going for all of that, man. I don't know, man. Like, I think he should go ahead and start a space on Twitter, whatever it is, before he gets on for doing that. And then we'll be able to judge him off that, maybe. So
Don't he do karaoke on Twitter?
he stopped that. He stopped that on Twitter, man.
People didn't like that. People didn't like that idea.
No, they did like the idea.
I retired because I got cheated.
Yeah.
I will never, ever do it again. Listen, let me tell you something. When somebody crosses me, you don't get the great content that I produce anymore. That's just the way it goes.
Let me guess, it was a girl that beat him.
Yes, yes.
What
Yes.
was she at least fine?
No
You don't
comment.
got to answer that. You don't got to answer that. Let's listen because I know people listen to
Wait,
this.
by fire, do you mean good looking?
Was she fine? Was she at least fine?
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
very good looking.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Well, there you go. Hey, what is? Hey, we got to get the people what they want, Matt. You expendable until they need you.
Yeah.
He said, "Listen, Al Green." Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, that was a whole little situation with the karaoke on the Twitter Spaces and why it pretty much ended up being defunct there. So no, we're not gonna have that coming back up here again.
Were they
So
getting money or something? Like what? Like this is just pride that he don't want to do. Were they getting money or something?
not no, it was pretty much like pride up to a certain point. Now, if
Yeah,
things kind of like
the
built
first
up,
contest I did give
oh
out a
yeah,
$50 prize to the winner. The first contest.
yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
was yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, so that kind of like was a good little thing going until I guess MVO got cheated there. So yeah, it pretty much was corrupt judges. So that's pretty much what it was. It was corrupt judges.
So NBA took his ball and went home.
Pretty much kind of there. So that's how that went. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got here, man. What is it? 10 years, a little bit after 10 o'clock Eastern time here. Big ups for everyone that's joined in on the live conversation here through YouTube, on X, and everything like that. Shout out to MVO, shout out to Fight Night Mode, shout out to GM, shout out to the Box Academic for joining us here on the panel. We'll get right back at it. The midweek report on Wednesday. I got to check my schedule because we're supposed to have the fight week for the upcoming bout or fight card in DC Entertainment and Sports Arena with the headlining bout of Lamont Roach Jr. defending the WBA 130-pound title against Fergal McCrory. Also, check out an article there about Lamont Roach Jr. on Brunch Boxing, brunchboxing.com. They're written by MVO. We're getting as many people to really tune into this bout that's coming up. It's going to be through ProBox TV. So for those that are not able to attend, they're over in Washington D.C. Be sure to check it out on ProBox TV. So we're gonna have a real busy weekend here. Big ups to Mo here, of course, that's been part of our conversations here on the Boxing Source. He's there on Four Corners Boxing. You could join there on YouTube, Four Corners Boxing. That's with the number Four Corners Boxing. Of course, you have the Boxing Academic that's there on Twitter or X as well. You can follow him on Twitter, and of course, the host of Brunch Boxing on Twitter with their weekly conversations there with on Twitter Spaces there with Brunch Boxing, and I did mention the website brunchboxing.com.
Yeah. Make sure y'all check out the interview that we just did with Ken Buhari, director of PBC, on Saturday. That was a good interview. We also have an interview that we did on Tuesday with the legendary Al Bernstein. I got JR said, a couple articles that I wrote up. One about the controversy surrounding Eddie Hearn and his allegations of fight fixing. This weekend, a fight was pulled, Akeem Fiaz versus Kane Baker, where Baker says that the fight was pulled because he refused to take a bribe to take a dive. This is a very important story, okay? And I think more people should be talking about this because this is not the first time that an Eddie Hearn fight has faced allegations of fight fixing. We remember February 8th, 2020, David Allen versus, what's this guy name? I think his name is George? I forgot his name. But anyway, suspicious activity in that fight also. David Allen has not appeared on a matching card since then, and the opponent that he fought has not fought since then. Little suspicious. to me. You know, so I think people should really check that out, man. I appreciate you for having me on, JR. You
Yeah.
are the best boxing podcast out there, longest running boxing show out there. I've been there since the Blog Talk Radio days when we could call in with the phone number and shit like that. You took your game to YouTube. You're here on StreamYard, and you are still number one in the game. And for those who are looking to follow the Boxing Academic on Twitter, don't bother. He says absolutely nothing of value. Do not follow the Boxing Academic. That's all
Hey,
I got.
as long as you don't say that on X on Twitter when I'm with you, just just don't say it there.
Never.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Come on, man.
Because I like being friends with the popular person. Just being honest. I mean, I'm serious. I do.
Yeah, man. Let me see here, man. I'm gonna try to post the the link onto that particular story with the controversy with Matchroom Boxing. That is on the live chat right now. For those that want to go ahead and check that article out, because that is a really interesting story there. And yeah, we've had a couple of things going down with Matchroom Boxing and the fighters there. And I mentioned something when it came to another fighter that had some type of controversy when it came to betting there, and that was through Yoenis Tejas sometime back, as his manager had put in a good amount of money towards him on a fight that he had some time back against Navarro. So real questionable things going on when it comes to these bets and stuff like that in the sport of boxing there. So y'all be sure to go ahead and check that article there, while you can. Like I said, you got that stuff on brunchboxing.com. You got our website, theboxingsource.net, there where we have the rankings there for the WBA, WBC, WBO, IBF, and then also hopefully by this week I will update the pound for pound rankings there for this particular month or whatever it is. So you do have that. But big thanks for everyone for joining in on this Sunday, June 23rd, 2024 edition of the Boxing Source podcast. And like I said at the end of every show, folks, Sport of Boxing is hit, not the send and trade. Peace out, y'all. I'm gone.